welcome back to the channel. For anyone new here, my name is Jay, and today, little change of scenery. We're inside. It's kind of 95 degrees right now in southwestern Pennsylvania, and as much as I love being outside, I can't do that heat. So we are inside in the basement today. But point of today's video, I'm gonna go over my bow setup for this coming hunting season, 2024. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted a Matthews bow, something I could customize myself. And so in 2021, right? Yes, 2021, I picked up the Matthews V3X, which was their flagship bow for 2021 going into 2022. This is the 29 axle model. I went with the shorter model mainly because most of what I do bow hunting is tree stand. So I wanted something nice and compact, not have to worry about, guiding around limbs potentially at all if I'm in tight quarters anywhere. My specs, I am a 29-inch draw, and right now I have this set to 67 pounds. I used to shoot 70. I shot my bear, I shot 70. I just don't feel like it's 100% necessary anymore to shoot 70. I'm getting great arrow performance out of my more balanced arrow setup that I'll go over in a minute. So I turned it down to, a little bit lighter. One thing you may notice is that back then, Matthews did do their zebra strings. Well, these are not zebra strings, are they? No. There's a reason for that. When I took this bow home, about the 6th shot I did out of it, strings broke right off. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I went back to my pro shop where I got it from and showed it to them. And I think the guy felt really bad for me, and he has a guy that makes custom bowstrings, and he got him to make me one for free, which was very nice of him. But a little about the accessories that I have on here. This is an 8-inch stabilizer, Matthews stabilizer. I definitely think I could go longer. Not something I'm willing to change up right now just because I'm shooting fairly well, but definitely for longer distance shooting, I'm definitely considering going longer on there and even maybe putting in a sidebar, but not something I'm too worried about right now. For the rest, I'm going with the Matthews Integrate Ultra Rest. To me, I just think it's one of the better arrow rests around, and it works great. The only thing I would ding on this arrow rest is, and I'm sure anyone out there who's used these can have the same problem, this felt right here. This stuff loves to peel away constantly, and it drives me insane. Other than that, it shoots, it's great, and it drops away every time. No issues there. The biggest change that I made this year was I took off the default grip that Matthews sends, and I went with a company called UltraView. They partnered with an archer named Chris B and made this rest called the UltraView rest, or UltraView grip 2.0. And I've shot it a little bit. Haven't had as much chance to shoot it because I literally just got it over the weekend, and it's been really hot outside. But the first thing that I noticed in difference compared to this guy is as soon as I grip this bow, my muscle memory can instantly almost get married to this grip. And that was something I definitely had a little bit of a problem with the default grip. I can just instantly feel where my muscles should go. And as we all know with shooting a bow, repetition, doing things the exact same way every time is how you end up being a good shot at the end of the day. So um, so far, I really like this grip. It is pricey. I believe it's $100, but if it really helped me, especially with my grouping at the longer distances like 40, 50, 60, I'm all for it. Moving on to the sight. I used to shoot a very old spot hog sight. It was a 5-pin. I honestly couldn't tell you what the name of it was just because it was that old. I believe it was in their Fast Eddie line. But with the V3X, I really wanted to take advantage of Matthew's bridge lock technology, which basically means here, if you can see, instead of the rest being mounted to the side of the bow, like most bows do, it goes directly into the riser and gets held in there by a pin. Now you need one of these dovetail mounts in order for this to work, but this particular sight is an HHA Tetra Rise, which is also a big change from what I had 2 years ago with the Spot Hog sight. It was 5-pin. This is your single pin, but then you have your dot below that for your secondary yardage. I went with a single pin because I think it's all a mental aspect, to be perfectly honest. Looking at all those pins, to me, is kind of daunting. And then remembering in that split second, am I on the right pin? With me just having to look at one pin, it just makes things more simplistic, and I just don't have to worry about it. And I have noticed quite the difference in my shooting and everything with using a single pin as opposed to going with multi-pin sight. That's probably a me thing. Others out there, maybe you have similar mental barriers that are really hard to break through. So I'd rather just go with something that actually works for me. My yardage on here, I can go from 20. Now the rest says, the sight says I can go all the way out to 120, but with the sight sitting down just like that, putting the arrow in there, I think the fletching would get caught on the scope housing right there. So more than likely I could go to, I'm thinking 115, and that would be using the bottom part of the pin. I've only shot out to 100. I'm not very good at 100. I just think it's fun to do. But yeah, when I shoot out to 100, I use the bottom dot, and that's worked fine for me. Moving on to my quiver, I do use basically the quiver Matthews came out with that integrates with this bow, just because it's so it's light. I like how light it is, and how close, let me see, how close that fits to the riser. That just helps with the balance. I love that so much. I don't always shoot with my quiver on. I practice with it on. 'Cause there's sometimes some situations where I can't, I have to have my quiver on my bow while I'm in the stand. So I practice for both scenarios. Let's move on to my release. For years, I shot your typical wrist release. I've gone through so many of them. True Fire, Scott Archery, Cabela's old school releases, but all wrist straps. I finally figured out last year that, and I shoot right-handed, so my pointer finger on my right hand, it can be twitchy sometimes. Even, pulling that release in so your entire finger can um, grip over the trigger, um, it's still twitchy sometimes. And sometimes I'll touch off a little bit before I want to, or, the shot will break before I actually wanted to because my pointer finger's twitchy. So I decided to dabble into all the, thumb button releases that people are talking about. And I ended up settling on this guy. This is the UV button, made by UltraView Archery. This guy is expensive. I believe they retail for $300. I got it on sale on Black Friday for, I believe, $230. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. One of the reasons I decided to go with this one as opposed to all the other ones out there is just the adjustability with this. I love that there's so many different screws in here that can be adjusted for travel, for just where this actual barrel roll can sit. You can have it sit all the way back here, all the way up here, or down here if you really want to. The more customized options there are, that's something that I'm always a fan of. And right now I have this thing set to pretty light because I just want to try to pull through my shot real quick and just have that thing just touch off. Now, I guess we'll move on to my arrow setup. Now, if you came here looking for, what FOC my arrows are, how fast am I shooting, I'm sorry, that's just not something I'm really into. To me, if I'm grouping good and my broadheads are tuned and everything, I honestly could care less how fast my arrows are and what the FOC is at the end of the day. I've been shooting these for 3 years. This will be my 3rd year, right? These are the Black Eagle Outlaws. These are 300 spine and 0.005 straightness. These have been really good. They're very accurate. They group really well. And I have 100 grain practice tips that I shoot out of them, but then my broadheads are also 100 grain. The broadhead of my choice, I like to go with something maybe not a little bit different, but I'm not shooting a fixed, I'm not shooting mechanical, I'm shooting a hybrid. This is the Muzzy Trocar HB. So basically, I'm getting the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You got your deployable blades that come out on impact, and then you also have your 2 bleeder blades here, and then your bigger head, more of a chisel tip to help with penetration. These have yet to steer me wrong. I was quite the big mechanical guy before all this, especially back in like the mid 2010s. I shot Rage for a very long time and only lost 2 deer with those, and that's averaging at least a deer and a half, 2 deer a year. And those 2 deer that I lost, there was 100% on me, bad shot placement. But one of the reasons I switched is I started having problems on entry on the Rages. And this really could happen with any mechanical. It's not necessarily on Rage, the brand. It could happen with any mechanical, I think. When it would on impact, it would kind of slip down a little bit and make like a cut. It would still penetrate and go through the animal, but like, for instance, a buck I shot 3 years ago, I had a perfectly broadside shot, and that arrow decided on impact, it slipped down a little bit, the broadhead part, and instead of me getting double lung and clean pass through, I got 1 lung and then it came out the guts. and I really didn't understand what happened until I, ended up finding the deer. Luckily, he expired very quickly. I saw him run off into some very thick stuff. Gave him some time, but luckily he was so stiff whenever I found him. But I didn't understand what happened because the way he reacted to the shot was very weird. And whenever I saw what happened, I'm like, oh, that broadhead actually slipped. And I've seen that happen to other people too. So I'm always one for trying new things, and I kept hearing about these new, not really new, but like hybrid, more people using hybrid type broadheads. Muzzy isn't the only one who makes them. I know Slick Trick makes some too. I think they're called the Assassins. That's something I would consider trying. But right now, I really like these. They shoot really well, very accurate, and if you can kind of tell maybe a theme I have here, I'm not a heavy arrow kind of person. I prefer more of a balanced setup. Just so then, whenever it comes to guessing yardage, I don't have to think about, oh geez, how much is my arrow going to drop? But that's just me. There's plenty of people out there killing stuff with more heavy arrows, and that's great. If you know how your setup works, how your bow shoots, how your broadheads are tuned, then you really shouldn't have any problems. So it's all your preference at the end of the day. But I think that's gonna do it, guys. I'm getting excited for the season. It's gonna be here before we know it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of my bow setup and maybe what you guys are going to be doing this year as far as bow hunting, bow setups, whatever. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.